I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Francesca Maxime, and this is Currents.
Recognizing the contributions of some dedicated local elders.
It's important in whatever you do in life to remember to thank those who do the most and expect the least in return.
A film festival where moral battles play out on the big screen.
It raises your consciousness and it challenges your conscience.
And an unusual but time-tested method to help you sell your home. Well, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It feels like the season of awards ceremonies, doesn't it? We have the MTV Video Music Awards a couple of weekends ago. This past weekend, it was the Nighttime Emmys.
All on the red carpet. Love those dresses. But we want to show you an event right here in Brooklyn honoring a group you're not likely to see on television. Right. Until now, anyway. The African American Apostolate in the diocese held a brunch last weekend to honor their elders, dedicated men and women who've contributed to the life of the church.
That's right. They make up what's known as the Wisdom Group. And as we found out when we sent our cameras, they're still a vibrant part of their communities.
The Wisdom Keepers are the elders of the church who have contributed down through the years and who they feel now should get recognition, even though we're not contributing as much as we were able to before. But we're contributing as far as our knowledge and our wisdom that we've accumulated over the years that we share with the younger people of the parish.
This time we are really focusing in on the Wisdom Group because they may be one of the groups that's most neglected. They're not entering school, they're not entering college, they're not getting married. They are, in many cases, in many ways, they're just there.
We in this diocese have been blessed with the wisdom, the guidance, and the support of African American elders in the diocese, in the parishes, and in the apostolates. So we thought it was fitting, as a Vicariate of Black Catholic Concerns, as the African American Apostolate, to really bring the parishes together and bring the elders together and have a brunch in their honor and to show support and love for them on this day.
The church provides the spiritual leadership for the people, especially the seniors.
The church is very involved, encouraging to be in church and to meet other people.
We need to set the example to our community that wisdom groups and those people, they count. They're important.
You are elders in the forefront. Yes, young people are our future, but the elders are our yesterday, they are our today, they are our tomorrow, they are our forever. Amen.
I thought it was fabulous. They did a great job, and I was honored. And being here with so many youth, I thought it was, oh, they were just great.
I thought today's event was a beautiful affair because I took a big part in it myself.
Every age group has a role. And in the African American community, the elders are always given that position of honor. So it's important in whatever you do in life to remember to thank those who do the most and expect the least in return.
Well, the Wisdom Group there, a very aptly named, dedicated group of elders, getting some well-deserved recognition.
Well, stay tuned. When Currents returns, a name has now surfaced as a possible replacement for Ted Kennedy. We have that and the rest of the day's headlines straight ahead.
And it's not the Sundance Film Festival, but the stars still shine.
I'm trying to combine film education with, I guess we'd say, moral education.
Welcome back to Currents. I'm Matt McClure.
And I'm Francesca Maxime. Coming up a little bit later, how's this for a brush with God? We'll meet a priest who paints.
But first, let's have a look at the day's headlines. Rockville Center Bishop William Murphy says it's the country's moral obligation to ensure that everyone, including undocumented immigrants, has health coverage. That echoes remarks earlier in the week by the president of the Bishops' Conference, Cardinal Francis George. Well, family members of the late Senator Ted Kennedy are reportedly supporting Paul Kirk to fill the seat, that vacant seat now, until a special election can be held. Kirk chairs the board of the John F. Kennedy Library. He's also the former chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
The 40 Days for Life campaign gets underway today in more than 200 cities across the country. The effort includes prayer, fasting, and vigils outside abortion clinics. Head over to our blog for information on what's happening in our area. Go to currentsny.net and click on Riding the Wave. Oprah picks a priest. The talk show host has selected for her book club a collection of stories called Say You're One of Them by Nigerian father Uwem Akpan. It marks 2 firsts for the book club, the first collection of stories and the first book by a priest. And from Book of the Month to Film of the Week, Father Robert Lauder has been hosting the Faith Film Festival for 17 years. And to find out more about this long-running series, we went to a recent showing in Douglaston, Queens.
I'm convinced great film is a tremendous way of educating somebody. It raises your consciousness and it challenges your conscience.
I am the darker brother. I, too, am American.
Well, tonight we're showing The Great Debaters, which stars Denzel Washington and Forrest Whitaker. Denzel Washington also directed the movie. I was in graduate school, and I saw movies by Ingmar Bergman, Michelangelo Antonioni, and Federico Fellini, and I would read reviews that said, these are masterpieces, and I would go to see them and not understand them, and that's how I got interested. I was determined to understand them, and once I understood them, I wanted to share it with other people. And that's what I've been trying to do for the last 17 years.
I've come several times for the last several years to the Friday Film Festival, and I've enjoyed it tremendously. In some cases, I've never seen the films, and in other cases, I've seen the films.
So I've been coming about 4 years, and I've been enjoying these film festivals very much. And so I'm learning a lot, and I'm enjoying the films. Most of them I've never seen. And it's a very relaxing evening.
I've shown about 210 movies over the last 17 years, and I try to get, most of them are only classics.
Gentlemen and lady, debate is combat, but your weapons are words.
For the last 6 or 7 years, I've had only 2 themes. Religion is one theme, and the other is 6 directors and the presence of sin.
Denzel Washington is always, I find him very exciting in terms of his performances, because it usually has a social aspect to it, and I just you know, was attracted to the fact that I would like to know or experience the movie, the film, this evening.
The evil in this movie is racial prejudice. That these black debaters, college kids from a small black college down south are treated like second-class citizens. How through debating they gain a new sense of themselves and show how intelligent and dedicated they are. It's beautiful.
Usually there are a group of 4 of us, and then we talk about it afterwards, and sometimes my husband and I will talk about it on the weekend, and we always have opinions about them, so they affect us greatly.
I'm trying to combine film education with, I guess we'd say, moral education.
It was so different with Father Lauder's explanation and what we were supposed to look for. It made it so exciting, and we really appreciated the films a lot more.
I've had a long experience knowing about Father Lauder and his articles, so it goes back many, many years.
Well, the next film in the series is John Huston's The Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Well, stay tuned. There's more Currents straight ahead. The housing market just may have a prayer from an unlikely source.
Buying and selling homes is a lot more than a financial transaction. There really is a spiritual dimension to all of this.
Welcome back to Currents. I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure. Turning now to economic news and something that literally hits home, the struggling housing market. The economy is picking up the pace, so says the Federal Reserve. The Fed said today it is slowing down the pace, therefore, of a program designed to lower mortgage rates. The Fed still will buy nearly $1.5 trillion in debt from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Ginnie Mae, but they'll take about 3 months longer to do so than originally planned. Well, even with that good news today from the Federal Reserve, the housing market continues to struggle. It's also no secret that a lot of Catholic dioceses are struggling too. Many parishes around the country are being forced to close and put their buildings up on the market for sale. Although it's bad news for the members of those parishes, though, it could be good news for other congregations looking to relocate. Michael O'Mara has the story of what's happening in the Diocese of Cleveland.
St. Stanislaus Parish will hold their final Mass this Sunday, but members were shocked to see the real estate listing already online. The price tag for the big church, the rectory, the school, and the convent, $525,000. The church bell may soon be silenced forever.
And soon you're not going to hear that. And when you hear the bells ringing, you hear God ringing in your heart. And now we're not going to have that any longer. It's going to be gone.
I would feel that I'm not even out of there yet, and you're selling my home, and I'm not even gone yet.
If you scroll down the real estate listings, you'll find several Catholic churches on the sales block. One of the best deals may be the old rectory, the home here for Sacred Heart, $200,000, and if you buy it, they'll throw in the church. The Catholic Diocese promises they won't sell to just anyone.
We have to be very careful and want to be very careful and are being very careful as far as who would be the potential buyer.
Holy Cross Church in Elyria already boarded up. There's a real estate lockbox on the front door, and the listing price, $299,000. This local church group is trying to buy the property.
We want this place to bring life back into this community.
So we're negotiating. We're hoping that they give us a really good price that we can afford.
We don't have the cash yet. We're fundraising. We're in the process of fundraising right now.
How much artwork will be removed from the church property after the sale is still unknown, but members of the congregation fear the worst.
So you see, now they're going to take everything away, so we don't got anything left.
Michael O'Mara reporting there from Cleveland. The diocese in Cleveland announced earlier this year that 52 parishes would be either closed or merged.
Finding a buyer can be difficult in this tough economy. People will try just about anything to get their property sold, including looking for some heavenly help. Catholic author Stephen J. Binns has written a book about it called St. Joseph, My Real Estate Agent, the patron saint of home life and home selling. And yesterday I had a chance to speak with him. Thanks so much, Stephen, for joining us today here on Currents.
You're welcome. Happy to be with you.
Thank you so much. Well, we're talking today about St. Joseph and specifically the little miniature statue that a lot of people use to plant in their yards in hopes of perhaps selling their homes more quickly. Tell us a little bit about why that statue, why that miniature, where it all came from.
Well, we don't know, really. It's popular spirituality. It's one of those things that simply grew up and expanded like wildfire. So it's a form of grassroots spirituality. And like many of those practices, they don't really have any very clear origin.
But we are talking about St. Joseph, obviously, from, the manger and the carpenter, right? The home builder.
That's the one. The very one. St. Joseph is the universal patron of homes and domestic life and fatherhood. And so I think that's why he was chosen, or why this practice developed around his image.
And his image specifically is this, or one manifestation of it. I'm holding it up right now. This little miniature. People will put it in their yards oftentimes. Tell us the different ways that they can do that.
Well, according to the practice, it's buried in the yard, upside down. Who knows why?
Okay.
But that's how the practice developed, and people have achieved amazing results apparently from it.
Is it just anecdotal evidence, or do you really find on the research that you've done that people have had success once that they have not only perhaps buried this miniature, but also through it perhaps connected a little bit more with their faith?
Well, that's what I wrote about in this book. I took for granted the fact that millions of people out there are burying these little statues, most of whom have very little understanding or none at all of who Joseph of Nazareth really is. And so I wrote this book to help people really develop a relationship with St. Joseph through this practice. But I do believe that St. Joseph can help people in their lives in all sorts of ways, particularly with realities related to domestic life.
That's one of the things that you alluded to earlier, St. Joseph as the father, as someone who was a loving husband, a good model for being sort of a good man, that all those things sort of contributed to domestic life and also perhaps to the success of selling a home is part of what may be necessary in order to achieve success with that sale.
You know, I think that particularly in today's financial climate, people are realizing that buying and selling homes is a lot more than a financial transaction. So there really is a spiritual dimension to all of this, and lots of Christian real estate agents talk about this as well. You know, buying and selling a home happens at transitional moments of our lives. Sure. You know, it's we buy and sell homes after marriage, or after having children, or after having moved to a new city. Right. You know, all of these are times in which we move into a new home and have to sell our old home, and I think people realize that there is a spiritual dimension to this, that they really can pray about this reality, and God really does hear their prayers, and of course we as Catholics and many other Christians too believe that the saints intercede for us.
Is it sort of more superstitious, and also is it only Catholics that you see doing this, or just anyone really nowadays?
Well, it was introduced to me by my Presbyterian real estate agent, so it's not just Catholics. Many Christians are practicing this either out of superstition or out of the common faith that we share in the communion of saints. There really is sometimes kind of a fine line between faith and superstition, but essentially the difference is faith is an act of generosity, and superstition in this context is sort of a selfish act. So, in other words, if we put a statue in the ground and expect our home to sell just because of some action or some mandatory verbal formula, that's superstition. But really developing a relationship with St. Joseph, really asking him to help us in our need in this situation, asking him to intercede with God on our behalf, all of those are expressions of faith. And so this little devotional practice can indeed become a means of growth in faith and an expression of Christian faith.
Absolutely. Well, Stephen, thank you so much. That's about all we have time for right now. I suppose it can't hurt, right?
That's right. It can't hurt. For sure.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
That is author Stephen J. Binns. There's no harm in it.
Right, absolutely. And I kind of like that parallel, though, that it draws between spiritual life and selling your home. You don't often think of it, I guess, when your home's on the market or if you sell a place, but there is a lot of, I guess, there are a lot of spiritual ties to the home. Just because you're there, that is your home for so long, and many things take place in the home, spiritual and otherwise.
I prayed to St. Joseph once when I was looking for a place, and it worked. I didn't bury a statue anywhere, but it was kind of cool. I was at my last legs and my last rope, and I said a little prayer, and everything worked out.
I have been there. So, like you said, it can't hurt. Well, let's stay tuned. There's much more Currents coming up straight ahead. Think this belongs in a museum? You won't believe who created it.
Art can do a lot for everything. It is the potential of the human spirit to move beyond itself.
Well, finally tonight, we look at a local man who has been a visual artist for practically his whole life. He says as far back as he can remember, he's always been interested in some type of drawing, and now he's turned to painting.
When we caught up with him, he was not wearing a smock, but instead a priest's collar. Father James Sweeney is the pastor of Our Lady of the Presentation in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and he's also creating some very impressive works of art.
Indeed, and his work is currently on display in Brooklyn Heights. So we sent our cameras to check it out.
We're here at St. Francis College in Brooklyn, and we're here for an opportunity to meet some students as they come to see the beautiful artwork of Father Jim Sweeney.
My technique is mostly watercolor. I've done some pastels, and even though they may look like darker colors, but I do it, with less pigmentation, with less watering, and more concentrated color. So so some of the things you look at, they might look more like an oil or an acrylic, but everything's watercolor.
Father James Sweeney is an artist, and his paintings are on display here for the month of September. Holy Faces and Holy Places is the title of his exhibit, and we wanted to take advantage of this exhibit to let young people know that being a priest or being a religious doesn't mean that you sell your soul to God and you can't have a life outside of serving God. And clearly we see here that he's able to do what he loves best, painting and serving God at the same time.
I'm first and foremost a priest who has been given a gift, I think, to make things presentable, artistic, to capture images. The actual idea of being an artist really didn't happen probably till after I was a priest. I used to draw stuff, but to actually sit down and do paintings and things, that really came as part of a process when I was already ordained. Art can do a lot for vocations. I think art can do a lot for everything. It is the potential of the human spirit to move beyond itself.
As vocation director for the diocese, and having a priest of our diocese have his art displayed here at St. Francis College, we thought it was a great opportunity for especially the students to be able to see that priests, like every other human being.
I think a lot of kids our age aren't too focused on religion in general, not only just priesthood or being nuns. So it's ironic how everybody always would like a good priest in their neighborhood, yet they won't look forward to actually becoming that person, which hopefully should change.
Vocation should be thought of in a different way. Just because you're a priest doesn't mean you can't be an artist. Just because you're a brother doesn't mean you can't have talents to do this and do that, and bring all those things together to excite people and say, yeah, you can do something. What's your talent? What's your ability? What's your gift? Share it with others, and do it with a sense of bringing people together, and that's what vocation's all about.
Father James Sweeney there, the exhibit of his work titled Holy Faces and Places, Art as Evangelization, will be on display at St. Francis College through September 28th.
Very nice.
Very nice stuff there. That's some nice work.
I think that when you have a passion, as he had said, for drawing it over the course of time, it's just so nice that you can integrate what you love to do with, in this case, your faith and sharing it with other people.
Combine two things that you're extremely passionate about, and as you said, in this case, it is his faith, and you are bound to be successful in that, and it looks like he is, and he's reaching people. And I kind of like what he said. There's a vocation crisis in the country right now, and really kind of throughout the church. And he's trying to reach people and saying, just because you're a priest doesn't mean you can't be, A, B, C, D, whatever else. You can do other things too.
That's right. Integrate all of your loves.
That's right.
All right. Well, that is all for this edition of Currents. Tomorrow, it is a global pandemic, and we'll take a look at what the local church is doing to fight HIV.
Until then, remember, you can always watch us online, catch us there, and learn to speak before you get on TV. Head on over to currentsny.net, and there you can see clips of the show. Check out our blog also. It's called Riding the Wave.
We also have a brand new Facebook fan page. Just log on to Facebook and search for Currents. We are constantly posting updates. I know Matt and I are definitely, so be there and check it out. And for all of us here at Currents, I'm Francesca Maxime. I'm so excited about the fan page.
It's contagious.
I know.
And I'm Matt McClure. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.